Patrick DeHaan is the head of petroleum analysis, GasBuddy. GasBuddy.com is his website, and he is back with us once again on the Big Biz Show. Patrick, you know, Mary and I were sitting here right before we came back from break, and she said, I want to know how Patrick DeHaan got into the gas game, the gas business. I said, well, he ate a lot of spicy peppers. Go ahead, Trace. Dun-dun-dun.
Here we go.
But, thank you. But seriously, how did you get into the gas game?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a real weird story of when I was going to school almost 25 years ago now. I was a commuter student, and you know, these volatilities in gas prices, the ups and downs, were always real frustrating as a college student on a fixed income and borrowing money to make ends meet and go through school. I'd go to school and gas would be, now sit down for this one, $1.70 on the way back from class, but it was $1.40 going to class. And I mean, that 30-cent jump is like a 20% increase in the price of gasoline. And so instead of doing all my coursework, I started doing this. And by the way, this was well before AI, well before even Google, when you just typed in what you wanted to find. And so Grand Rapids Gas Prices was the site that I started to use to try and build some knowledge on the ups and downs in the market. So a lot of it was just trying to understand how prices worked. And like I said, that was almost now 25 years ago.
Amazing.
So, Patrick, thanks for that explanation, by the way. It was just like, we haven't gotten to know you. Sully's known you for a long time, but so talk about, you know, where I think we're on an uptick right now. Is that correct? In the price
most of the nation is starting to see a big uptick, especially California. You'll see the map behind me. So this is the time of year we do generally see that uptick.
So are things like time of year and or the political climate and or, you know, what are the things? I mean, I know there's lots of variables, but what do you think are some of the biggest variables?
I mean, the first thing that you said, the time of year, gasoline is very seasonal. Gas prices are lower in the fall and winter, and then they start going back up in the late winter for the spring and summer. And a lot of that is simply balances of supply and demand. Demand starts to go up as temperatures eventually start to warm up. Americans start getting outside after a long frozen winter. And so demand for gasoline, spring break travel, then it kind of segues into May and then June. And by the time we get to mid-July, that's when gasoline demand peaks. And so as demand tends to go up, prices tend to follow. So a lot of it is seasonal, but it's not only demand. On the supply side, too, I said supply and demand. On the supply side, refineries start doing maintenance. They do that maintenance before the start of the summer. And so that's usually late winter and spring when maintenance starts. And then on top of that, the complicating layer is when we switch to summer gasoline, which California, at least Southern California, is the first area of the nation to start that transition. They've already started it. And so that kind of progressively happens from south to north through the month of February, March, and April. So all three of those factors usually push gas prices up pretty noticeably starting right around now.
Patrick DeHaan is the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. GasBuddy.com is the website to go to. Patrick, you know, with as many electric cars as you see in hybrids now on the road, have they had any sort of influence on the price of gas, the price of oil, up or downward?
Well, certainly right about now. I mean, probably not to the degree that many Americans think. I mean, look at California. There's millions of EVs on the road across the country. I think really now that we're seeing a big slowdown in EVs, the other aspect to consider is the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle that still does rely on internal combustion engine power for beyond a range of, say, 40 to 50 miles. But I mean, to your question, yeah, I think EVs have dented gasoline demand. You're going to find different analysts have different opinions. I probably would say that gasoline demand is somewhere down in the ballpark of 5 to 12% because of EVs and because of plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. And a lot of the decrease, too, compared to the peak is not only just EVs, but kind of the workplace flexibilities that we saw during the pandemic. And a lot of those are starting to shift back towards in-office, but that's part of the conversation that's really dented gasoline demand as well.
Hey, what do you think about, you know, ways in which these gas station owners are finding ways to make money during all the volatility with the fuel? I mean, I think we've talked on the show about they're making money on the Slim Jims and the Diet Cokes and on Mike, who stops for Funyuns every
the smokes and Cokes. That used to be the crutch for gas stations was what you were selling inside the gas station, smokes and cokes, hot dogs, food. And that's why you've seen a lot of evolution at the gas station, right? It's not just gas anymore, and it's not just hot dogs anymore, but there's a lot of fresh food options. So that's where a lot of C-stores and a lot of gas stations have put a lot of effort, is into increasing the amount of selection inside the convenience store. Keep in mind, a lot of this is almost like a quick service restaurant. You go inside and there's fruit cups, there's fresh sliced charcuterie trays, there's so many different things, but there's increasing amount of profit happening still at the gas pump. A lot of that has been on a necessity, though. Business costs have gone up. As I mentioned, gasoline demand is lower. So how, as a business owner, do you try and recoup increasing costs of labor, increasing costs of doing business while selling less gasoline? And that's why gasoline margins, the profit has gone up out of necessity because of things like the pandemic and because of falling gasoline revenues. So the average gas station is doing quite a bit better today than it did, say, 10 years ago. But part of that, a lot of it is really just out of necessity to pay for the cost of doing business.
Patrick, we've got about a minute left. Talk about California Assembly Bill 30.
Yeah, I'm not from California, so I remember the headlines a lot better than I do the numbers. California's had a lot of rules and regulations, but which one is 30 again?
It's the E15 or something to help stabilize gas prices. Yeah. And we're talking about an assembly bill that's supposed to stabilize, yet we see our gas prices going up.
Yeah, so E15, this is not something just limited to California, but really President Trump in the White House has been talking about allowing E15 over the course of the year. Essentially what it would do is, while you've seen the price of ethanol during gasoline volatility, the price of ethanol a lot of the times holds pretty consistent. And so the thinking behind this bill is taking some of the volatility out of gas prices. That is allowing more ethanol, which is generally more stable in price, to replace gasoline.
Patrick DeHaan, the head of petroleum analysis, GasBuddy.com. He's our go-to. GasBuddy.com, the website to go to as well. Check up on how much gas is in your neck of the woods.